While I've got you face to face, let's sort this post office thing out once and for all.
It's Ed Davey, the Lib Dem leader, who was the postal minister in 2010. Here he is talking to Kate Burley on Sky News, apologising for basically not seeing through the lies of those in charge at the post office. The whole post office scandal keeps on unfolding, but I'm interested, how culpable do you feel Davey is?
Alan Bates isn't very happy with you. He says he took offence to your suggestion that the government had an arm's-length relationship with the post office. What would you say in response?
Well, I apologised to him already. What happened was I was in office for 11 days and was asked whether I would meet him, and I was told that the tradition had been that we didn't meet people because the post office is run by the post office executives and it was an arm's-length relationship, as he said. And then he wrote back to me. The officials told me the letter was pretty tough, which it was, as we heard at the inquiry, and I agreed that I should meet him. And so I was actually the first post office minister to meet him. He was an amazing guy, as everyone now knows, and I put his concerns to post office executives. His main concern, as we saw in the drama, as we've seen in the inquiry, and indeed as we saw in the 2019 High Court case, was the post office was saying there was no remote access to the Horizon system, and therefore the sub-postmaster was responsible for the system. And he was claiming that couldn't be the case. So I put that very important IT issue to post office executives and to officials, and they said, no, there was no remote access at all. Now, Kay, what's so shocking, and this has come out through the inquiry, is that they knew all along there was remote access. So they must have lied to me, to previous ministers, to ministers after me, and they lied not just to the sub-postmasters, who the victims is, but to the courts and the judges and the lawyers. So this was lies on an industrial scale, and why I actually support people who say that the people who are responsible for this must be held to account, and if that means them being taken to court and going to prison, so be it.
But if you hadn't kept the post office at arm's length, or if they hadn't kept you at arm's length, potentially none of this would have happened.
Well, the arm's length relationship, which has been there for a long time, needs to be questioned too. One of the things I'm concerned about
Why didn't you question it at the time?
Well, I didn't realise it was a problem, if I'm honest with you, but we now see...
because it was at arm's length.
Well, indeed, but, you know, I had inherited this. It had been the case for decades, as far as I can see. And what I'm doing...
You've never been one to follow the pack, though, Minister.
Well,
as a minister.
I was wanting to change the post office management, but not because of this. I wasn't aware of this problem. I didn't think the post office was as well managed as it should be.
So why weren't you keeping more of an eye on them?
Well, we were trying to reform the post office because the issue that I was facing was post offices closing up and down the country. But the Horizon system, which is the scandal, which is a huge scandal, was hardly raised with me at all, besides Mr Bates. What I did was I tried to make sure that his questions were answered. Unfortunately, I was lied to.
Click here for a video on Lord Ashcroft hiding from questions on tax in a toilet.